Hey all, September 23rd, 2024. I'm about to go into Old Town at the RoyalBC Museum. There's been some changes made. It's now Old Town with a new approach. So we will find out what that's about together. How was this built? In the 1970s, this area around you was a vast empty hall. You can imagine town. This constructed space, exhibits and cubes, skies, buildings came and went. Some stayed longer. Today we continue our work with communities from across BC to build new exhibits. Consider this. How do you turn an idea into an exhibition? Well, you need designers, carpenters, painters, electricians, exhibit technicians, curators, community partners, archivists, conservators, collection managers, communication staff, security cleaners, and finance staff all working together. Walking on Algonquin territory, holding space for Indigenous peoples to tell their ongoing histories. This museum is built upon the territory of the Algonquin, place to smoke herring, people, also known as the Songhees and Esquimalt nations, since time immemorial. They continue to be the caretakers of this land and waters. Keep this in mind as you walk through Old Town. Algonquin continue to thrive and show resilience, strengthening their nations and telling their stories. The museum commits to following the lead of the Algonquin. Old Town, new approach. The RoyalBC Museum is changing the space you are about to enter. Had rarely been updated since it opened in 1970. It shows both the physical condition of the archives and the narrative that tells Old Town and imagined world made up by museum staff was designed to be a snapshot for life for settlers from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. What it failed to do was respect the diversity of life in the region and to share the stories of more communities. In months and years to come, this space will change in collaboration with communities across BC. This will allow us to reflect the community of life in the province as it grows and changes. So now, let's go into Old Town. First pedestrian church hall. Old Town Theater, now showing. Evergreen Playland, a road trip through British Columbia. Let's watch a few minutes of it.
The original star of the old Carolyn Highway. And now a division point of the Pacific Great Eastern, the railway with a personality, and a good way to see the Carolyn. Blasting the passage through mountains and chasms for this unique railway was a project that was older than any undertaken by the early pioneers. Jew Grangers, famous for their hospitality, thanks to every year. Many of whom remember their favorite horses with much affection. So all members of the family have a great time.
Carrying on through Old Town. Automobile storage, waters and smelling. Nice old garage here. Sorry for that interruption. I stopped to take a picture. We're carrying on through Old Town now at the RoyalBC Museum. For lease. Oh, into the Port Moody lobby. What do we have here? More new displays are coming soon to this area, but we're going into the Port Moody station. Years ago, I got to tell you a story. 1979, summer, my grandpa took my sister May and I on a trip down to Victoria. Brought us here to this museum. Well, May tricked me. I could hear a train. Just like that. She tricked me into sitting in here for 20 minutes by myself, waiting for a train to show up. Black men employed as sleeping car porters on Canadian railway trains formed a recognizable guild. They lived and stayed in Vancouver's Hogan's Alley, a black neighborhood, because discrimination limited their options in housing, and Hogan's Alley was close to the railway terminus. The railroad service replicated a model from the Jim Crow era U.S. South by featuring the black porters as servants who were compensated substantially by tips because of their low wages. They were effectively segregated, not given sleeping quarters, nor were they allowed to let passengers see and meet. Many porters held university degrees, but jobs as sleeping car porters were among the few options open to black men in Canada. This was created in partnership with BC Black History Awareness Society. That train never did show up, by the way. We'll come back this way. So carry on. That's the mail to the mail. If I send it in this mailbox, it'll probably never show up. Imported glass, white lead, paints, colors, oils. Living lands, evolving townscapes. The town of British Columbia were built upon First Nations lands. The street of wood, cobblestone, represents one layer and one reconstruction of British Columbia's past. Countless layers of lived experience have gone unnoticed. In the months and years to come, the museum will share previously untold stories about communities, people, and places. Consider this. Who built the towns and roads of the province? How did development change people's relationships to the land? You know, if you go to my other page on Facebook, BC History, you'll know more. Here we are at the Library, General Steel and Ironworks. You can hear them working back there. That's the blowers to keep the fire going. Once again, I'm in Old Town at the RoyalBCMuseum. This is the Grand Hotel. Look at that harp. I wonder if I know anybody that plays a harp. Oh, phonograph with the tubes there. That's old. We'll come back and go up those stairs. Next, we've got the North Pacific Salon, M. Dickinson, proprietor. Anybody up for some poker? Blackjack, maybe? Consider this. Would you be allowed or welcomed into a turn-of-the-century salon? Indigenous weren't, people of color weren't, and females weren't. Gold in the Yukon. Consider this. The press is powerful. What's your story? Would it make it different? Mine probably would. And I'm not just saying that to be egotistical. People have told me to write it. Oh, printing press there. Letter holder. This is an accessible lift, exclusive for visitors needing assistance. I'm going to go upstairs and then come back down to go through Old Chinatown. A little look at me going up these stairs. My color, the way I'm dressed, I definitely wouldn't fit back then. Supposed to be in suit and tie. Coming soon, the Hashi Studio in Cumberland, BC is going to have a display in here soon. That's pretty cool. People down below. Consider this. What kitchen smells take you home? Oh, my mom's homemade bread. We had a stove just like this one, and I can smell that homemade bread now. Taking me back. Or cinnamon on toast. Rhubarb pie. Oh, those are the smells that take me back. Well, time for me. I've found an old phone. Let's see if it's going to let me make a call back to where I need to call. What if I could get it out? But nope, still not getting the answers I need. Okay, now we're going in. Hotel staff only. Need some bedding, some blankets all kept in there. We're going into the Grand Hotel. Nice grand piano in the lobby of the hotel here. Ooh, look at this seating set.
Yeah, I mean that kind of stuff is like you need so much maintenance to keep it open.
Collection care, museum practices. Changing exhibits takes a long time, even to prepare the space for a new exhibit has taken a large team and entire year to remove and rehouse 185 objects that were formerly in this room. Each piece needed to be carefully conserved and returned to storage. For the first time in more than 50 years, they are now accessible on the museum's database. Because of that long stretch of time on display, some artifacts were permanently damaged. Some of the larger furniture remains because of conservation hazards and storage limitations. This is just the beginning. Room number 4. Office work, a quiet space that changed the land. Offices like this were established to manage the land and resources of BC. The decisions on how and where to log trees changed this province forever. The colonial approach was at odds with the sustainable relationships that First Nations have had with the land and water. Who worked in these offices? What were they keeping track of? What role did First Nations play in these spaces? Who owned these resources? What were some of their impacts? What other industries were controlled in offices like this one? Thought-provoking questions, and ones we should all consider. I am at the RoyalBCMuseum in Old Town. Some of the wildlife from BC that have been put on display. Now I'm going into the mining display. Oops, sorry. January 2022, we closed the entire third floor to begin making some long overdue changes in the area shared within the galleries. Exhibitions in these galleries will continue to transform over the next several years to properly and effectively present history. The museum is working with our long-standing partners and inviting new partners to co-create exhibitions with us. Doing this work, we are growing and renewing relationships. We're heading to the Gold Rush diorama.
Yeah, they like outsourced the parking control from bullshit like parking company, right? For ticketing and stuff. Yeah. Which is completely unnecessary because everyone has registered spots and never anyone in their spot.
This is the Britannia Cannery.
Anyways, they're like, oh, calendar.
Just so everybody knows, when I suddenly vanish and it quits being live for a few seconds, it's because I'm taking a picture. This is canning diorama. You can see my video of the Gulf of Georgia cannery up on the YouTube channel. Gold rush era, 1849 to 1900. It's close up of the mining diorama here. Along the water up to the sluice box. Down here they pan it out to find the gold. This gallery redevelopment. Now I don't want to exit because I want to go back into the Chinatown display, so let's wander backwards now. Past the Gold Rush era display. Here's the fish canning display, which they don't even mention.
Was there anything in there?
Once you're around the corner, there's a mining display, but past that, there's nothing.
Okay.
Old Chinatown, living communities. This alley was created in the early 1990s to capture some glimpses of an early 20th century Chinatown in Victoria. Wilson, Canada was once home to one of the largest communities of Canadian-born Chinese people in the early 1900s. As pre-1945 ethnic enclave, Chinatown has borne witness to and holds a special space for the constantly evolving, growing, and living communities of British Columbia, including many generations of diverse Chinese Canadians. Chinatowns were a vital part of many British Columbian communities. Outsiders deemed them forbidding and different, but they provided a feeling of the old country the people living there. Chinatowns were partly self-contained and partly integrated into the surrounding community. Tailors labored to produce Western-style clothes, while grocers offered a selection of foods palatable to old country tastes, and herbalists furnished traditional remedies for maladies. Chinese herbs and tailoring suits made to order. The grocery stores. Advocacy and activism. Living communities, living museum site. Chinatowns across North America played a significant role in supporting not only Chinese but also other communities before the middle of the 20th century. All Chinatowns have gone through challenges and transformations over time. Canada's oldest Chinatown in Victoria holds a special place in the hearts of many. At its core are amazing family and community bonds that have endured through much hardship, success, resistance, and resilience. Today, the communities are working toward developing Victoria's Chinatown into a living museum. And that takes me to the